We're going to put together a 2 IPS repair coupling now in a ditch that's 6 foot in length. And we've put some coil pipe between clamps so it can't move and marked a damaged area on that pipe to represent the area we need to cut out to make the repair. Again, it's 6 foot ditch length. The pipe is secured on either end, so once it's cut, the pieces can't move axially. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to mark a gap around the damaged area that's on the pipe, and we're going to mark that off to make the appropriate cut there in the pipe to cut out that damaged area. You can see that black ink pen mark there on the pipe represents the damaged area. So we mark an area that's 3 7/8 inches symmetrical around the damage, and we're going to go ahead and cut that out now. Once we cut the first side, you can see that because the pipe had been coiled, it hadn't been sitting in the clamped condition very long, it kind of sprang back a little bit, so you see a little curvature in the pipe. But that won't cause a problem with putting the repair fitting together. So there's the damaged section. We discard that. The next thing we're going to do is put the completion sleeves on the pipe so that we don't forget about those. That's important because once you put the clamps on, you can't put the completion sleeves on past the clamps. So here we're going to mark off the distance on the long side of the coupling. We're going to mark back 4 5/8 of an inch and make a mark on the pipe. On the short end of the coupling, we'll mark back 3 1/2 inches on the pipe, and those are going to be the indicators for where we're going to line up our clamps. So we take the first clamp and we want to put it on around the pipe. We're going to line up the edge of the clamp with the mark we put on the pipe, and we have a groove in the clamp that interfaces with the tool, and we want to make sure that that groove is away from the joint. So we put a spacer in that groove to keep everything aligned while we're tightening up the clamp. And once the clamp's tightened, then we'll go ahead and just remove that spacer that help keep it aligned. Go ahead and put the second clamp on there, and you can see we line up the edge of the clamp with the mark that we placed on the pipe. Again, the groove in the clamp wants to be away from the joint, and we'll go ahead and tighten that one up as well. Again, we're going to start the bolt and then put the spacer in there just to keep the clamp aligned while we're tightening it up. Once that's tightened up, and that means that the two sides of the clamp have come together and are essentially touching, we've squeezed the polyethylene pipe down. We'll take and remove that spacer, and now we're ready to go ahead and put together the joint with the repair coupling. We're going to load the repair coupling into the tool, and working from the bottom of the pipe, the coupling kind of nests itself into the tool and holds itself in place. So with one hand I'm holding the tool, and the other hand I'm pumping the pump to bring the fitting together. Now once it's started and under some compression, you can see that you really don't have to even hang on to the tool. It aligns itself, and the fitting goes into the pipe nice and straight, so it really doesn't take too much force. We bring that into the pipe on the long side all the way up to the shoulder of the spigot. Then we relieve the pressure in the tool and drop the tool off. We're going to set the tool up now so that it is spaced just in front of that clamp, so we can go ahead and assemble the other side and pull the fitting into the other side of the pipe. Go ahead and put the nose of the fitting down into the other end and bring the tool down over the fitting. Again, putting the tool through the flange on the fitting, dropping it in front of the clamp on the left side there and behind the clamp on the right side. Now we'll go ahead and pump it to assemble the short side of the fitting, and as we do that, we're pulling the fitting back out of the long side that we just assembled. This allows us to go ahead and take up that gap that we cut when we took out the damaged section. We're going to go ahead and draw the fitting into the second side just up to where we cover the barb on the spigot. Once that is done, we'll go ahead and release the pressure in the tool a little bit and pull it off. And now your joint's essentially made, but it's not ready for service until we get the completion sleeves over the spigot and complete that seal. So we take the clamps off of both sides, just releasing them by loosening up the bolts. We're going to slide our completion sleeves into place, and we'll go ahead and start on the long side, the side that we pulled back, and we'll go ahead and bring that completion sleeve up and over the spigot. Again, you can see the tool just kind of lines itself nicely, although that pipe had a little curvature in it from being from a coil. It really hasn't caused us any problems in putting the actual fitting or joint together. Once it's started, again, you really don't have to mess with the tool or hold it in place, and it brings the completion sleeve up in a nice straight alignment with the fitting. We're going to bring that completion sleeve up until there's a little rib on the long side of the coupling, and we'll bring up the completion sleeve until the face is even with that rib. You see we remove the pressure and we just pull the clamp off and now position it to finish up the second side. Again, we drop the tool down over the flange of the fitting, and using the pump we'll go ahead and draw in the completion sleeve on the short side now. Again, we go ahead and draw that all the way up until the completion sleeve face is coincident with the shoulder of the spigot. There it is. We release the pressure in the tool, remove the tool, and we have a completed fitting. Repaired to the pipe. It took just under 9 minutes to complete the joint.